Hi, I'm Gene Triplett, entertainment editor for the Oklahoman and newsok.com. I'm here today with George Lang, Matt Price, and Heather Warlick-Moore, and this is Entertainment Insider. We're going to give you some entertainment news and talk over what's been going on the past few days. Starting off with Zac Efron's 17 Again, which led the box office openers this past weekend with a whopping $24.1 million worth of tickets sold. What if movies like this one seem to go over well? What are your favorite age or body switching comedies, you guys? George?
Probably not that one, but there were actually a rash of them that came out in the late '80s, and then just a few years ago there was the Jennifer Garner one, 13 Going on 30. But my personal favorite, and it's just hands down, is Big. It was the best constructed one, and it was and obviously the best acted with Tom Hanks in the lead role, and also there was some great casting there because the kid who played Josh Baskin when he's 12 or whatever, his name is David Moscow, I think. That was perfect casting. You could see that guy actually becoming Tom Hanks when he grew up. So yeah, that one absolutely the best.
I agree that Big is the best of that late '80s rash of age-switching comedies, which we had a whole bunch. I mean, there was one with George Burns. There were all these different ones.
There was a Kirk Cameron
one. There was you could actually have probably a festival of just watching 1980s age-switching comedies. But I think Big does stand out far and away as the best one, largely because of Tom Hanks' performance capturing that inner child. Although I will say, if like Freaky Friday is on, like on a Saturday afternoon, the Jodie Foster one, I'll watch it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Heather?
Right. Well, I like Big also. Not the most original answer, but I also really love the Back to the Future series, So yeah, my daughter went to see the Zac Efron movie this weekend, and I asked her, I was like, well, do you think it's something that adults would like to, and she's like, yeah, there's even cussing in it. So I'm like, all right, well, I'm there. So.
Yeah, well, I guess it's unanimous. I think, like you said, Matt Hank really was in touch with his inner kid at that point in his career and really nailed it. And it was a really sweet lesson in innocence, and and it's unforgettable thanks to Hanks, who does guileless innocence better than anybody. This was sort of an early preview, I think, of his performance in Forrest Gump. So, yeah, so we all agree there. So anyway, we've got a festive weekend ahead, week coming up with a couple of big events, starting with the Oklahoma City Festival of the Arts, a prominent jewel in Oklahoma City's cultural crown. What's your favorite attraction at our annual celebration of the arts, George?
Well, the thing that we always hear is like, oh, you got to go for the food, the strawberries, Newport, all of that stuff. But no, I'm actually there to check out art. That's really a strange notion, but yeah, I go there for the art, and also, of course, the music, because there's some great acts that perform there. And really, this when it opens tomorrow on Tuesday, the first thing that I'm going to do is take my kid to the Yippee-I-Yo show, which it's a great sort of like a throwback to the old Foreman Scotty type shows, and so that's going to be going on at the cafe stage at 6. So when you got a kid, you got to do those kind of things. So.
Matt?
Given that there's so much, I usually don't go with a particular, I have to see this in mind. I just kind of go to see what's there and kind of experience it. But there's generally some really great Western art there. I think it's a good environment to experience like acoustic music. And of course, it is pretty good food. So I think it's if you have specific things you want to see, I think you can do that. But I think also if you just want to go and see what appeals to you, just sort of experience the sensory experience of food and art and things to look at and taste and so on. I think it's good if you just go in it that way as well.
Heather?
I love all of the stuff. I love the art. I mean, that's really why I'm there too. I like to go to the print tent and actually buy something. It's kind of nice to be able to afford something in there. I think to me, I mean, it is the food, it is the music, definitely. My band has played there every year except this year. It's going to be our first year not to play in like 10 years. So But it's just, I think that the thing that I love the most about it is that it's the first day of spring, really, to me. It's like you go out there and you're actually wearing like shorts or something, and it's warm and the flowers are all blooming and there's a million people out there and it just feels good, it just feels good.
Yeah. And hopefully it won't rain.
Yeah, well,
it'll rain.
It's bound to, you know that.
It'll rain.
Now, I got to admit, the first attraction is the food, because you can smell it from blocks away before you ever lay your eyes on any art. But you're right, it's all about the art, and there's 144 artists out there to see, so it's kind of hard to kind of nail down a favorite attraction at the Arts Festival, because there's something new and different every year.
There's so many different types of art going on. You can be any type. You can be a modern, real minimalist, or you can be, a country folk art type of person. There's something for everybody.
Always see extraordinary pottery there too. It's amazing.
Yeah, and the sculpting demonstrations, I love to watch those. It's fascinating. It's kind of hypnotizing. Yeah. The second annual Norman Music Festival is coming up this Saturday, taking up 3 whole city blocks of downtown Main Street, with about 80 musical acts, more like 90 probably, on about 12 different stages, all kinds of different genres. What could the success of this festival mean to the Oklahoma City area music scene, do you all think? Matt?
Well, I think it's great. I mean, we've had a lot of little festivals pop up in Tulsa that have become big festivals. And Oklahoma City hadn't really had that. I think putting one in Norman is close enough. You get that whole metro area, plus you get the proximity to the college, and a lot of things that Norman brings you, maybe a slightly hipper vibe than just trying to do an Oklahoma City one. So I think if it goes well, I think you could get bigger and bigger acts. There's no reason you couldn't pull down a pretty big act to headline this thing in a couple of years. So I think it's all good, provided that it continues to grow and be managed well. And I think they did a pretty good job the first time out. So looking forward to seeing what this year brings.
Heather?
I like it because it's a really good venue for original music, and that's one thing that I think Oklahoma City, the greater Oklahoma City area, totally lacks. I mean, when you go out on a Friday night anywhere in Bricktown, you're going to hear a band, like Super Freak or Time Machine or something playing danceable cover songs, but there are few places that really welcome original bands, and if we want to really compete on a cultural level, like with places like Austin or Nashville or places like that, we have to be more interested in that type of music.
George?
Well, the thing about the Norman Music Festival, last year when it debuted, they were expecting about 6,000 people. And they ended up with 13 to 15, depending on the estimate. Really, and it ran like clockwork. And bands talk about that. They talk about the great experience that they have with a festival, and the fact that it is completely free and open to the public. If you can run a festival like that and actually and not lose money. Because look at all the festivals that lose money. Lollapalooza was a loser for quite a few years there. If you can do it right, then it will grow exponentially. And the first year was the headliner was pretty good. It was a polyphonic spree. So that was a good get that year. Of Montreal as a step up there. Mm-hmm. And then, really, I think that if the word gets out and bands and management, spread the word about this, then we could be seeing some top-flight performers performing on Main Street in Norman just in next year, maybe in a couple of years. We'll see.
Well, and I'm hoping that this, for the growth of this thing, for the sake of the music scene here in the metropolitan area. I mean, if we can host a major festival, of course, it's going to be it's a long way to go to even compare to South by Southwest in Austin. Mm-hmm. But then maybe we can start building a music scene here. More acts will be coming through. Mm-hmm. Not just the top flight arena acts, but acts that come to places like Tulsa's historic Cain's Ballroom.
Yes.
I wish we had the mid-level venues that Tulsa has. Mm-hmm. They've got Cain's, they got the Brady Theater. We've got a couple of little great places called the Conservatory and Opolis.
Absolutely.
But we need something more to attract.
I know that there are people who are looking into it. Yeah. So so hopefully between the efforts of these individuals who are trying to open something and the Norman Music Festival, that having sort of a spillover effect would be magnificent.
Yeah, and we've lagged behind for years behind Tulsa as a musical hot spot in the state. So I hope we're going to start catching up here. But D-Fest, now, how many people have attended D-Fest the last couple?
I'm not sure how many, but it was a huge number. It was in the tens of thousands.
Yeah.
And
that's not a free festival.
Right,
that's not a
like
free
$40,
festival.
isn't it?
But just in the last couple of years, the growth in the type of acts that are performing there and the sheer number of them has been pretty extraordinary, really. I mean, it took just this massive incremental leap the last couple of years, and last year they had people like the Roots playing and All American Rejects, and so that's growing really well. If Norman Music Festival can kind of mirror that, and then start having some conferences, to go along with it, which is always a good component of a great festival, then that would be fantastic.
Yeah, well, here's hoping the Norman Festival grows this year and keeps on growing. So get out on Main Street this Saturday and check out the music. I'm sure it'll be a great time. Well, that's all we have this week for Entertainment Insider. Thanks for joining us, and please join us again next week.